Oh, this was potentially one of the most embarrassing moments of my life.
I'll call him Doug. My donkey's name is Doug.
It was a really good donkey. We can all see that that was a bit of a questionable move. Dogs started chasing him down the street. Hey everybody, I'm Finn Iles, and today we're going to be taking a look back at a 6-part series that I was a part of called Rob's Wild Rides, and this is my segment from Colombia and Ecuador. Let's get into it. I'd actually never been to South America before, so this festival here was pretty eye-opening.
Hello? Is there a shaman around?
This was really wild because we didn't really know what we were walking into. They didn't tell us what we were doing, and then we walked into the building and this lady starts blessing us, and then we sort of go down 3 sets of stairs into her basement, and she starts ripping these guinea pigs out of this box, and she tells us to strip down and basically explains that she is going to put a protection on us and pull all of the unholy spirits out of us so that we are protected while we go up the mountain, up the volcano. I actually kind of made Rob go first because it was sort of, he dragged me here, he brought me here, he's the one that is exploring, and I decided that he should go first, so he sort of was peer pressured into that. Yeah, she was rubbing eggs all over us because I think the eggs she can see it helps heal our ailments when she rubs the eggs all over us. And she said to Rob that Rob had problems with his kidneys, his back, and his lungs. And it was pretty funny because he was like, she might be really right about that. This was eye-opening. I didn't really expect this. The spitting and the smoking and the spitting on the guinea pig and then rubbing it all over us was, yeah, it was shocking. It was a pretty crazy experience. And then here, she dumped liquor into this huge bucket and then filled it with water from the mountain and then dumped it on us and cleansed us. And this was pretty bad for me because I had white Calvin Klein underwear on and they didn't tell us what we were going to be doing that day. And yeah, that was a very questionable decision by me.
Nice to meet you, mate. Nice to meet you.
This was a really cool experience because we got to go up into these highlands, and this guy, he was a Chagra, which is basically an Ecuadorian cowboy, and he taught us how to use a lasso. Rob was pretty confident going into it, but he never actually got it.
Oh, that was close! Almost, huh? Canadian
I think I was just a little bit more competitive than he was. It took me about 15 tries, but I got it once, and I definitely thought I was prepared to move on to the Chagra lifestyle, but then we saw old mate here go out on his horse and wrangle like 3 or 4 cows, and it just made it look so difficult when he did it. And this experience was really wholesome, actually. I think it was something that not too many people get to experience. Him make us dinner, this really delicious meal from like meat right from the cows on the farm, and then sing us a very traditional song that he actually wrote himself. It was definitely something that I'll never forget, and it was pretty much a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Rob and I. So this morning, Rob and I have woken up to the most exceptional view that I've ever seen in my entire life. What do you think, Rob?
Just took my breath away, literally. Look at it.
Absolutely brilliant.
A proper volcano, a real one, like a massive...
Yeah, it was super foggy. The morning we were expecting to see this view here of the volcano, and it was super foggy. So Rob and I improvised, and I'd say not as good, but still pretty nice.
It feels more like a summit attempt on Everest than getting to the start of a bike trail.
Walking up the volcano was pretty crazy. We actually drove up for about 45 minutes to 14,600 feet, and then we walked up another 400. I felt like my lungs were gonna collapse. It's so hard to breathe. And then going into this 70-kilometer-an-hour, like basically speed test down the hill was crazy. And the dirt was so different to anything I'd ever been on. It was so cool. And you could do these little cut turns because it was almost like ash and this really soft volcanic rock, and you could just tear it up down basically, I'd say 10 kilometers of trail, and it just made it really cool to ride, and it was like real free riding. Oh, this is us in Colombia.
Where are we going? Find Pablo Escobar.
I'm trying to remember what he was saying. He was trying to ask for a taxi, and I think he was asking for a goat, so he kept going up to like different shops and people asking to get a big taxi, but he was actually saying he wanted a big goat. And basically nobody knew what he was talking about until we went and found a person that spoke English and Spanish and was able to like get us a taxi. And this was actually the biggest taxi they had, and we got 2 bike boxes in it actually. It was pretty funny. Oh, this was potentially one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. The producers were really excited to pull pranks on us or sort of lead us into stuff that we were absolutely not expecting. So we had a full day of filming, and they're like, we got one more thing for you guys, and I was quite excited. And then they pulled us into the salsa dancing studio, and Rob and I just looked so horrible. I think I was a little bit better than Rob, but I was definitely struggling. I had a lady coach that taught me basically how to do it, so I was the woman when we were dancing. It was kind of nice though. She really showed me the ropes, and I felt like I kind of got the hang of it by the end.
This probably is like some sort of cross training or whatever they do these days. He ain't bad at it, but he ain't going to set the world on fire, you know what I mean? It's a Latin thing. Finn's from Whistler in Canada. There ain't no salsa there.
Rob!
Bisogno!
Hey, where is Finn? Here.
This is Marcelo Gutierrez's dad, actually. This is his coffee plant, and it was really cool to have him show us around and show us sort of the trails that I think Marcelo grew up riding. And it was funny because he was like a pretty good rider, but he definitely had 3 or 4 crashes that were, I don't know, surprising that he got up from them.
Woo! Are you okay?
This guy's Don Carlos. He owns this, or he works on this little farm here. This was like 3:30 in the morning, and every morning he'd wake up and go get the cows in, and him and his son would milk them, and then they let us milk the cows, and it was, I could barely get the milk to come out.
Are you supposed to be that forceful with it? He's gonna rip it off.
As a whole, mountain bikers have pretty strong forearms, but this dude had absolute cannons for forearms, and he was just milking it like it was easy. It was like it was his day job. And honestly, I thought it was pretty fun, and Rob actually gave it a go, and he was so freaked out by the feeling of the udder that he would not give it another try. But he would actually let the farmer milk it directly into his coffee.
Thank you. Perfect. It is a good cup of coffee, that. I think it might bring me up. Real frothy, isn't it?
It's good. It's just creamy.
Cappuccino.
I'll call him Doug. My donkey's name is Doug.
Something that I didn't actually expect that we were gonna do is shuttle. We got to shuttle with donkeys. The terrain up there is so like undulating, so we couldn't really drive and we couldn't really ride, so we had to use donkeys to get our bikes where we want to go. I named mine Doug. I became very attached to him. He was a really good donkey, and yeah, we got the job done. It was just something so different, but I honestly don't think it's gonna make a big boom in North America, just because it's very slow, and I feel like we've got a lot of pre-existing roads for our trails.
Look at that view.
Yeah, the trail wasn't super good at the beginning, and then it came into this super nice trail. It was like 16 kilometers long, and it was just like basically a pure descent, and it was super good. Rob was going a bit slow, so I had to kind of hit him with the inside line there. Oh yeah, we kind of built up a lip for that. There was already a landing, but the lip was kind of bad, so we wanted a big huck or a bit of a road gap. So we built that in. It was nice, fun.
The spar brake of all spar brakes. Look at it, dude. It's full jungle.
The advice I'd give to somebody that was thinking of traveling to these countries and going riding there would be to put the bike aside for a little bit, because those places are so culture rich, and when you are riding, I'd say you'd want to have a guide, because it's super easy to get lost and miss out on some really good riding without some local knowledge. So that's definitely my piece of advice for people that are looking to go riding in Ecuador or Colombia.
The memories from this trip will stay with me for the rest of my life. It is, yeah, it's been really something to behold, start to finish. Every day, a golden day.
Absolutely.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming, Finn.
Yeah, thank you.